Hi, I'm Patrick Easier. I'm here with John Snyder, and we're here at the change of commander ceremony. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. This is a wonderful day, and this is a day that the Army has celebrated since its beginnings in the late 1700s.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the changing of commander ceremony?
Well, absolutely. When you look beyond the parade grounds and the flags blowing in the wind, what this truly is a transfer of authority. In this case, it's a transfer of one commander of the Watervliet Arsenal to another commander in the Watervliet Arsenal.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Well, I just appreciate you being here. And again, the Watervliet Arsenal has been part of the city of Watervliet since 1813, and as always, we greatly appreciate the support we get from the city.
I appreciate you talking to me. Thank you.
Smith, Watervliet Arsenal Chief of Staff, your narrator for this morning's ceremony. On behalf of Major General Michael J. Terry and the Commanding General of the United States Army TACOM Life Cycle Management Command, welcome to today's ceremony. Thank you for joining us to say farewell to Colonel Mark F. Migaleddi, his wife Barbara, his daughters Kaylee and Christina. Today we will also welcome Colonel Lee H. Schiller Jr., his wife Christine, their children Andrew, Joseph, Elizabeth, and Matthew. A special welcome to all soldiers, corporate partners, family, friends, and especially to those who translate the Watervliet Arsenal vision into mission accomplishment, our civilian workforce. Also, please take note of our great colored guard today. They are the New York Army National Guard Joint Forces Colored Guard, a tenet of the Arsenal. It is truly a great pleasure to have your support today. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the honors, the singing of the national anthem by Suzanne Delaney, and the invocation given by Father Dymeke. Today, the official party consists of Major General Michael J. Terry, Commanding General of the TACOM Life Cycle Management Command, Colonel Mark F. Migaleddi, the outgoing commander of the Watervliet Arsenal, and Colonel Lee H. Schiller, the incoming commander.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets were clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
O good and gracious God, as we gather for this 58th change of command ceremony, we also mark 200 years of faithful leadership for the Watervliet Arsenal. We pay tribute to what has gone before, and we anticipate what is yet to come. For Colonel Mark Migaleddi, our departing commander, we ask your blessing and care upon him and his family, Barbara, Kaylee, Christina, as they assume new positions in life and adjust to a new home and environment. We are all better for having had Colonel Migaleddi's leadership. Guide him as he guided those given to his charge during these last 3 years. For our new commander, Colonel Lee Schiller Jr., we ask you to bless him and his family, Christine, Andrew, Joseph, Elizabeth, and Matthew, as they come to us. As he assumes command, may he have the wisdom of Solomon in the decisions he must make, and the strength of all those who have gone before him. Under his leadership, may this arsenal continue to fulfill its mission and be an instrument of world peace. Bless, protect, and prosper all who work here at this arsenal and their families, and may they know your presence and protection all the days of their lives. Finally, bless all of us as we gather for this occasion, and in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We are honored to have in attendance today the Honorable Michael R. McNulty, former Congressman from the 21st Congressional District of New York. Major General Patrick A. Murphy, Adjutant General, New York Army National Guard. Brigadier General Anthony German, Adjutant General, New York Army National Guard. Mr. Sean Shortell, representing Congressman Paul Tonko from the 21st Congressional District of New York. The Honorable Michael Manning, Mayor of the City of Watervliet. The Honorable Megan Grenier, Mayor of the City of Manans. The Honorable Daniel McCoy, Albany County Executive. The Honorable Kathleen Jimeno, Rensselaer County Executive. Brigadier General Barry Hartman, U.S. Army retired. Brigadier General Rebecca Halstead, U.S. Army retired. Colonel Doyle Lassiter, Commander, Red River Army Depot. Colonel Dill, Commanding Officer, 1st Marine Corps. Mr. DeGusta, Director of Weapons and Software Engineering Center, RDEC. Colonel Kevin R. Moore, U.S. Army retired, former Commander of Watervliet Arsenal. Colonel Donald C. Olson, U.S. Army retired, former Commander of Watervliet Arsenal. And Colonel Robert T. Walker, U.S. Army retired, former Commander of Watervliet Arsenal. Welcome. At this time, Miss Debbie Monaco is presenting a bouquet of red roses in full bloom to Mrs. Barbara Migaleddi and a single red rose to their daughters, Kaylee and Christina, to signify the loving, nurturing relationship that has grown while they have been at Watervliet Arsenal. Mrs. Nancy Cornell will now present a bouquet of yellow budding roses to Mrs. Christine Schiller and a single budding rose to their daughter Elizabeth to signify the warm relationship that exists here at the command and will continue to grow during their time with us. Before I get too far into the history of the Arsenal, I would be remiss if I didn't say happy anniversary. Last Sunday, the Arsenal celebrated 200 years of continuous service to our nation. Just off to your right is the original 12 acres of land where 200 years ago today, the first building was being erected while soldiers stood guard from the British attack. And off to your left, the rock wall reminds us of the Erie Canal that once traversed through the Arsenal and powered our workshops. And also to your left, you will see our future of Watervliet Arsenal, our CYS camp. As American history has defined who we are as a nation, Arsenal history symbolizes who we are as a community. When our nation sent its treasure to fight in such places as Vera Cruz, Gettysburg, and Normandy, the Arsenal, manned with men and women and sometimes children, were here putting the mission ahead of their personal lives. Some lost limbs in this endeavor, and some lost their lives. The Watervliet Arsenal is a National Registered Historic Landmark and is America's oldest arsenal. Established in 1813 to support a fledgling nation in what was dubbed the Second War of Independence, the arsenal supplied arms and other material to a nation preoccupied with protecting itself from the British invasion. During the Civil War, Watervliet Arsenal produced previously unheard of quantities of small arms, artillery munitions, gun carriages, scabbards, saddles, and cartridge boxes. Then in 1887, in one quick decision by the Army, the Arsenal went from being a manufacturer of saddles to a manufacturer of cannons, with its selection as the nation's gun factory. At the time the Spanish-American War began in 1898, the Arsenal was manufacturing the nation's first 16-inch gun. World War I brought substantial growth to the Arsenal. New buildings were constructed and modern machinery installed. But it was in World War II, when the Arsenal's operations surged to support the war effort, more than 9,000 personnel worked at this location, nearly 3,000 of which were women. In the 1980s, a $350 million renovation of the manufacturing facilities made the Arsenal into the most modern armament manufacturer in the world. Today, the Arsenal, with 28 government and civilian tenant organizations, continues, as it has done for 200 years, to support the warfighter in the finest ordnance in the world. Mr. Carl Pearson, an assembler, will now stamp Colonel Migaleddi's initials on a 120 millimeter tube representing the last tube completed under Colonel Migaleddi's command. Ladies and gentlemen, the change of command ceremony is an ancient military tradition that can be traced back to the Middle Ages. Today, you will see Colonel Migaleddi pass the Watervliet Arsenal colors to Major General Terry, who will then pass the colors to Colonel Schiller. This symbolizes the outgoing commander relinquishing command back to his superior after his mission here is completed. The senior commander then entrusts the incoming commander with a new command. Colonel Schiller will then return the colors to Mr. Edward McCarthy, the Arsenal's deputy commander. Mr. Edward McCarthy is entrusted with the care and safekeeping of the colors upon receipt from the new commander. By the authority of Army Regulation 600-20, paragraph 2-5, Army Command Policy, the undersigned assumes command of the Watervliet Arsenal effective 18 July 2013. Signed, Lee H. Schiller, Colonel, Logistics Commanding. Mr. Chester Cunningham, an assembler, will now stamp Colonel Schiller's initials on a 120 millimeter tube, signifying the assumption of command and a returned pledge of honor that Watervliet Arsenal provides the warfighters with the very best ordnance. Today, we are honored to have with us Commanding General of the TACOM Life Cycle Management Command, Major General Michael J. Terry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome General Terry.
Thank you. And Command Sergeant Major, thank you for putting this color guard at rest. Thank you, color guard, for being here today. You look great. And we couldn't have this ceremony and have it what it truly means without you. Ladies and gentlemen, could we give these great soldiers a round of applause? Over 34 years in the Army I've never been to a change of command ceremony where something like this tradition where the initials of the commander are stamped into the gun tubes. And from what I know, this is the standard that inspected by when every tube that leaves Watervliet now will have Lee Schiller's initials on it. So everything that comes out of here, the product, has got his name on it. That means a lot. And I think that's just an amazing, amazing tradition and something that's been carried on. And the gentlemen doing this today, thank you. These are artisans. I'll talk about our workforce here in a little bit, but what a great tradition. Well, good morning, distinguished guests, leaders of the community, general officers, soldiers, non-commissioned officers, Department of the Army civilians, officers, Watervliet Arsenal teammates, family, and friends. And there's one friend of mine that I've got to do a shout out to, and that's retired Brigadier General Becky Halstead. Her mom and dad are here, and her sister. Becky's a great warrior. My unit replaced hers in Iraq. She really is the epitome of what being an officer and general officer is all about. We're honored to have you here, Becky. Welcome. Folks, thank you for taking time out of your schedules to share in this special day, this change of command between Colonel Mark Migaleddi and Colonel Lee Schiller. Also, special thanks to all those who worked so hard to plan and execute this change of command. Well done, and thank you for your dedicated support. First, I've got to welcome Miggs' wife, Barb, and their daughters, Kaylee and Christina. I'd also like to welcome the Schiller family. Now, they came here in force here today, folks. Lee's wife, Christine, and their children, Andrew, Joseph, Elizabeth, and Matthew. Christine is a retired lieutenant colonel and Army nurse. It's great to have you join our community. Let's give these folks a round of applause. Welcome. I'd also like to extend our greetings. Now, I've got a roster here of names, and I'll try to get these right. Somebody might not be here, but this is what they gave me. I'm going to welcome everybody, and I'd like to welcome Christine's mother, Connie Brown, got that one right, and her father, Frank Brown. Colonel Schiller's mother, Suzanne, and father, Lee Sr., who joined us from South Carolina. Colonel Schiller's brother, Tim, from Florida. Colonel Schiller's sister, Kathleen, from Rhode Island. And Colonel Schiller's niece, Army Captain Bridget Kushan, I think is the name. Did I say that right? And her husband, Greg. I don't think Greg was able to make it here, though, from West Point. Now, everybody who I named, raise your hands. Okay, that's all you. Raise your hands. Welcome. I'm sure that got messed up along the way there somehow. I also want to extend a special thanks to the entire Watervliet Arsenal workforce for what you do for our soldiers every day. You're a great team of professionals who provide the best possible support for our soldiers serving around the world in harm's way. As many of you know, Watervliet Arsenal is the nation's oldest continuously serving and operating arsenal. As mentioned earlier this week, the Arsenal marked its 200th anniversary. Folks could talk about units, folks could talk about operations, but when I mention this amongst my peers in the Army Materiel Command Enterprise, they all shut up. 200 years. Amazing. The Arsenal has been an active manufacturer of military hardware since the War of 1812. Ed, I think you were here for the opening doors, weren't you? Through the years, Arsenal workers have faithfully executed their mission to provide service and support to America's soldiers. For 200 years, the Arsenal has produced weapons, parts, and material that helped hundreds of thousands of our nation's war fighters come home safely. In the 1880s, the Arsenal transformed itself from a manufacturer of saddles to a manufacturer of cannons. Today, U.S. and Allied forces rely on the Arsenal to produce the most advanced, high-tech, high-powered weaponry for cannon, howitzer, and mortar systems. The Arsenal's value to the Army and the nation was highlighted again earlier this year when the Secretary of the Army designated Watervliet Arsenal as a center of industrial and technical excellence for cannon and mortars. Thanks again for all that the Watervliet team do each and every day to support our soldiers at the tip of the spear. We're proud of what you are and who you are and what you do to make our Army the best equipped quality force in the world. Your efforts have ensured the safety and welfare of our most precious resource, our soldiers. Working in collaboration with the Army Benet Labs, research and design teammates located here, you never missed a beat and always ensured our soldiers had what they needed to engage and defeat our adversaries. Ladies and gentlemen, the folks who are predominantly standing around is the backbone of this organization. They're standing here in the background. They're the backbone. They're always in the background making great things happen for our nation. The workforce of Watervliet Arsenal. Ladies and gentlemen, if you take a look around and join me in a round of applause in thanking these great Americans. This is artisan work that goes on here. We have multi-generations that have worked here, and what a great tradition. This is a national treasure that can't be replicated anywhere else in North America. I'm so very proud and humbled to be part of this. And what you do in supporting our nation and our soldiers, see those kids right there? It's all for them. We do things now, and we fight now, and you support the fight now, so they don't have to fight later on. That says it all in my book. Today, we bid farewell to a tremendous leader, Colonel Mark Migaleddi. You know, I know Mark from the early 1990s when he was a captain and I was a major, and we were both serving in the 3rd Infantry Division in Germany. I saw a lot in him back then. I'm so proud of him now. He's lived up to everybody's expectations. So Mark, thank you and congratulations. You've served as the commander here for the past 3 years. Mark Migaleddi's most important qualities and achievements during his time as Arsenal commander are his heart, his passion for people, and his efforts to maintain workload and right-size the workforce while ensuring minimal impacts to employees and their families, especially during these times of fiscal uncertainty. This was an exceedingly difficult task that required outstanding leadership and intense planning. I'm proud to say that Colonel Migaleddi executed this extremely important mission with excellent results, never losing focus why he served, to take care of people while ensuring mission accomplishment. Taking care of your workforce in the face of declining workload is probably the biggest challenge an Arsenal commander will face. Mark did a superb job under the most trying circumstances. This is not the kind of task that reaps awards and honors, but is so important to our Arsenal workforce and our local communities. In Mark Migaleddi, you had an advocate who worked tirelessly on your behalf. Thanks again, Mark. Mark's also been a driving force for the Arsenal's workforce safety and business development programs. He's been extremely active in marketing and promoting the Arsenal's excellent capabilities and talents of the workforce, unmatched anywhere throughout our organic industrial base. Furthermore, his hard work and dedication has been instrumental, raising over $290 million in revenue over the past 36 months, and has been key to increase strategic relationships with our industry partners, allies, and our sister services. During Mark's command, Watervliet Arsenal set the standard of excellence in regards to maintaining a superior and solid workplace safety program. He made a direct personal commitment to maintaining and enhancing sound safety practices, which led to the Arsenal's recognition as the FY10 Secretary of the Army Safety Award winner for brigade level operations and FY11 and 12 Headquarters Department of the Army Award for Industry Operations Installation Safety Award recipient. That says something, folks, because what we do here at Watervliet, there are so many opportunities for people to get injured. There's so many opportunities for things to go bad. But winning these awards, earning these awards, signifies the intensity that the chain of command and the workforce as individuals pays attention to safety. Pays attention to safety and getting the job done. Mark also promoted the Arsenal's participation in numerous business development activities. Mark worked hard to help chart a good path forward. In February, the Secretary of the Army designated the Arsenal as a center of industrial technical excellence for cannons and mortars. This certification will allow Watervliet Arsenal to enter in public-private partnerships to perform work which will continue to ensure the workforce maintains the necessary skills for success today and well into the future. During his time as Arsenal commander, Mark earned the respect of his workforce, customers, business partners, and community leaders alike. The hallmarks of Colonel Migaleddi's time of service are his attention to detail, his deep concern and compassion for the workforce, and his involvement in Arsenal community activities and events. Watervliet Arsenal is a national treasure. The Arsenal has the highest concentration of cannon know-how in the world. Colonel Migaleddi has been relentless in his efforts to both preserve and nurture the development of these skills. The Watervliet team achieved great things under Mark's command, especially in its partnership with Benet Labs. Research, development, engineering, and manufacturing all take place right here at the Arsenal. Mark, you're a tremendous leader who stood tall. Speaking of tall, see these two guys I'm standing next to? I'm like in the land of the giants. Stood tall during a trying time for Arsenal operations, a time when quality and timeliness were critical to sustaining our efforts in support of our deployed soldiers. Mark and the entire Arsenal team supported ongoing war efforts and ensured that our forces were postured for success while serving in the most austere, challenging environments throughout the globe. Since May 2011, the Arsenal has fielded, now get these numbers, we have to have numbers to show the volume, fielded 73 battalion-sized units with a combination of 120 millimeter, 81 millimeter, and 60 millimeter lightweight mortars. Furthermore, under your leadership, the Arsenal manufactured cannons for over 50 Army units worldwide and also manufactured over 3,000 cannon and mortar items in support of our allies and joint forces. You and the Watervliet Arsenal teammates always rose to the occasion and it made our nation and Army proud. Thank you for what you've done and best wishes as you move to your next assignment in Afghanistan as the Director of National Logistics for the Afghanistan Security Forces. A big mission. I wish you and your family the very best of joy, success, and happiness in all future endeavors. From the day you were commissioned in 1987 to this very moment, the Army and the American people have benefited from your personal talents, skills, abilities, and leadership. My sincere thanks to you and your family for your service and sacrifice on behalf of a grateful nation. I also want to thank Barb Migaleddi for her dedicated support to Watervliet families and the community. You're always available to do whatever was needed to ensure the team and families remained a vital part of the community and always made a positive impact for ongoing programs in the area. Your dedication, commitment, support, and caring heart have made an impact. When an organization loses a great leader, the Army always works to get it right. The Army seeks to replace that person with another outstanding officer with the right skill sets and leadership ability to make the organization go to the next level. This is absolutely the case as we bid farewell to the Migaleddis and welcome the Schiller Command Team to Watervliet Arsenal. The Army selected the right person to lead this organization. Lee has an excellent reputation and is also a tremendous, well-tested leader. Lee comes to us from Headquarters Department of the Army, where he served as the Deputy Director for Maintenance Policies and Programs in the Pentagon, and I know he's happy to be here. He's a seasoned officer who knows what right looks like. He knows how to lead, and most importantly, he knows how to build teams and take care of our people. Lee, you have a very important mission ahead of you. I'm confident in your ability to build on the solid reputation the Arsenal enjoys throughout our Army. You're getting a great team. Continue to take care of the workforce, our most precious and valued resource. Welcome to the team. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, I want to again thank all of you for coming and sharing this special day. May God continue to bless the United States of America, our Army, our soldiers in harm's way, your families, and may He watch over and protect us all. Army strong. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to recognize the outgoing commander of the Watervliet Arsenal, Colonel Mark F. Migaleddi.
Good morning and welcome to our distinguished guests, family, friends, former Arsenal commanders. Thank you for coming here today, and most importantly, the Watervliet Arsenal employees. Major General Terry, thank you for being here today. Thanks for your calm and focused leadership over this last year. I also want to thank Lauren Smith, Debbie Monaco, John Snyder, and the entire 200th Anniversary Committee for all the work you've done, making our 200th anniversary very memorable, and again, all who made today's event so special. Before I go any further, I want to thank God for allowing me the chance to command. My command teammates, Barb, Kaylee, and Christina, thank you very much for all that you've done. You know, I believe children can provide us with some of the most humbling and insightful moments. I want to share a story with you that occurred last year, right about this time. I had an opportunity to spend an hour with our summer campers over there, and I talked to them for about an hour, and shortly after I got done, they were very kind, and they went ahead and they presented me with some cards and a flag that they all signed. And this one special note here really embodies of how I shaped today's speech. And I just want to share it with you for a moment. Thank you, Commander Migaleddi. And it's really kind of cool. We've got a heart and I got a cannon on it. Thank you. Thank you for whatever you said. Thank you. Marissa, Audrey, Kaylee, and Olivia. So with that in mind, I know you're not here to listen to me, but I do want to mention a few things for whatever you said. When I assumed command 3 years ago, I knew that the future outgoing commander in 2013 would be celebrating the 200 years of continuous service to our country. I asked Matt Day to go ahead and create a timeline before you of what I thought was graphically part of the most significant events in the Arsenal's history. When I first looked at that, I walked down the hallway to see all the commanders before me, and I was humbled. I was humbled to be a part of this timeline. And I looked at all the commanders on the wall, and I really was. I just couldn't believe it. Watervliet Arsenal has played a significant, if not a major role, in every military conflict since the War of 1812. When you look at the years between conflict, they are filled with transitions, insertions of advancements in technology. I mean, look at from the Erie Canal, and then you go into the factory floor, you'll see the most technologically advanced lathes and machines in there. It's incredible. And understand the significance of that. I challenge you to name any other military manufacturer or defense contractor that can boast 200 years of continuous service to the military. The fact is, Watervliet Arsenal is a national treasure. Here on this historic site, inside those buildings, are the DoD's repository of cannon know-how. Our nation and our allies have relied upon us and our skilled and dedicated manufacturing and employees manufacturing the world's most lethal and precise indirect fire systems in the world. Many of our employees today, sitting out there, are part of families and generations of skilled artisans and technicians that have dedicated their lives to making weapons for our warfighters. Weapons that have helped countless numbers of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines to come home. We could not do this if it was not for Benet Laboratories. Benet and the Watervliet Arsenal have a relationship unrivaled in the Department of Defense and many commercial manufacturings. Co-located here are DoD's premier research, design, engineering, and prototype laboratories. Lee Bennett and his team have continued to make significant contributions, and I want to thank them for that. One of the many things I learned while I command here is that the Arsenal has played a significant role in many of the lives in the region. Barb and I cannot tell you how many times we've been to events where somebody has come up to us and say, I know somebody that worked at the Arsenal. Do you know them? They worked at the Arsenal. You cannot throw a stone around this place without hitting someone who knows someone or somebody that has worked at Benet Laboratories or the Watervliet Arsenal. And over the last 3 years, I've witnessed the powerful message that you New Yorkers can do when you go ahead and celebrate and honor and commemorate our fallen heroes, as well as his current military. The monthly honor vet ceremonies in Albany and Rensselaer counties display the unwavering dedication of not allowing those memories of those brave men and women who have given their all to their family and friends and to their country go unnoticed. Our federal, our state, and our local elected officials, you are the ones that make those events special. Although the honor vet ceremonies were believed to be started, and now I know for a fact, by Congressman McNulty. And Congressman, thank you very much for what you continue to do for our veterans. And they're attended by our Congressmen Tonko and Gibson, our county executives, Dan McCoy and Kathleen Jimino, Linda Weiss from the VA Medical Center, the Gold Star Mothers attend those organizations. Also, the American Legion, the Marine Corps League, the VFW. All of you make those events so very special. And the Arsenal is so proud to be a part of those ceremonies, and I thank you for what you do and what you continue to do, supporting our veterans and our military. Closer to home, I would be remiss if I didn't mention two folks that we've worked closely together. Watervliet City Mayor Mike Manning and Peter Gannon, the Arsenal Business and Technology President, Peter Gannon. We've been together since day one, and together we've worked hard. We've worked hard to make things better around here, and I believe we have. Gentlemen, thank you for your support to the Arsenal. Thank you for what you will do and your support to Lee Schiller and his family. Today's change of command, a real simple ceremony in fact, but it's rich in tradition. It has now been executed 58 times in 200 years. It is not a ceremony marking the end of 200 years of continuous service to a nation, not only to our nation, to our allies, but a ceremony to mark a new beginning, a time where the Arsenal looks to seize and improve on our manufacturing, improve on maintaining our critical manufacturing skills. The Arsenal is the only repository for Canon know-how. We look to incorporate new technologies that are made right here in the capital region into our new processes. The Arsenal wants to also use these new processes to make ourselves more attractive to public-private and partnerships. You know, there's a quote that I pull out and I use every once in a while, and I thought it's really fitting for today. To realize our true destiny, we must be guided by the myth from our past, but a vision of our future. Lee and Chris, you have a wonderful journey ahead of you. Enjoy it. Thank you all for coming to celebrate this change of command. May God bless you, may God bless the Watervliet Arsenal, and may God bless America. Army strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, please welcome the 58th Commander of the Watervliet Arsenal, Colonel Lee H. Schiller, Jr.
Thank you, ma'am. Major General Terry, distinguished guests, former Arsenal commanders, family and friends, thank you for being here today to show your respect to the Migaleddi family and the Arsenal's outstanding workforce. I thank the Color Guard and everyone who had a hand in putting this ceremony together. I also want to thank my relatives and friends who have traveled many miles for today's ceremony. Thank you for being here. General Terry, I truly appreciate this opportunity to serve under your command and be a part of the TACOM team. Thank you very much, sir. It's an honor to be the Arsenal's 58th commander, and I'm especially privileged to be taking command upon its 200th anniversary. My family is very excited to be here in the great state of New York, the capital region, especially at Watervliet Arsenal. Christine and I are humbled to serve as your command team and promise our full commitment to the mission and to the workforce. Taking on this responsibility is no small task, but we had a lot of assistance from Mark and Barb Migaleddi, and they made us, from day one, you reached out to us and you made a smooth transition for our family. You have served the Arsenal with distinction, Mark and Barb. It will be a tough act to follow. Godspeed and all the best to you in your transition back to Maryland.
and Mark's deployment to Afghanistan. We'll be praying for your safe return. A lot has changed at the Arsenal since 1813. Equipment, machinery, and buildings, but the one thing that has not changed is the overwhelming sense of pride the workforce puts into every product made here at the Arsenal. And with your support, I see it as our sense of duty to continue that proud tradition. The Arsenal workforce has been resolute for 200 years, meeting the urgent demands of our nation's warfighters despite the ebbs and flows of defense budgets. We must be determined today to meet the significant fiscal challenges we now face and do so with a strong sense of dignity and pride like we have done in the past. To combat these challenges, it will take teamwork built around a dedicated and competent workforce. With strong teamwork and excellence in all we do, I'm confident that the Watervliet Arsenal will continue to be the leader in manufacturing of cannons and mortars for our U.S. warfighters, as well as for our allies for many years to come. Finally, we're a team of teams here at the Arsenal, and I'm eager to maintain and grow the strong partnerships with our Arsenal tenants and neighbors in the capital region. I stand ready to command the Arsenal of the Brave, providing service to the line, and on time. God bless this country, God bless this Arsenal, and God bless all of you, and thank you for coming today.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the